Hello, you guys. So our lesson is about the respiratory system. Let me just first remind you of the main parts of our respiratory system, which are the nose, the mouth, the trachea here, the lungs, which are the main parts, and of course the diaphragm, which is the muscle right underneath your lungs. And of course, we always need to remember that all of those organs, including the heart, are protected by those bones in our chest, and they are called the rib cage. So let's start. First of all, I got you this picture to show you that the lungs are located in your chest in this place here. And from this picture, I just want you to know what happens when you breathe in and when you breathe out. So when you breathe in, the air, if you follow the arrow here and here, the air will enter your body from your nose or mouth. It will reach your trachea, and then it will go into your lungs. And the lungs will be filled with air because the diaphragm here, which is this muscle underneath your lungs, will move downwards, and this will give space for the lungs to be filled with air, and that's why your chest will rise up. When you breathe out, the same thing will happen backwards. So the diaphragm muscle here will move upwards, and this will squeeze the air out of your lungs. That's why your chest will go down, and that's when the air will reach up to your trachea and then to your nose and mouth, and you breathe out. So like all living things, we need oxygen to live. Our body gets oxygen when we breathe. So, the human respiratory system's function or job, you see here the word function means job. So the basic function or job of the human respiratory system is to help the body take in oxygen from the air and get rid of carbon dioxide, which is the bad gas that we breathe out. So the main parts of the respiratory system are the nose, the trachea, or we call it the windpipe, the lungs, and in the lungs there are teeny tiny, super duper small air sacs. We call them alveoli. And right underneath your lungs there is the diaphragm muscle. Now notice here the P and the H together, they make the sound F, and the G here is a silent letter, so we say diaphragm. So this slide is about the trachea. I just want you to know that the trachea is the part of the respiratory system found in your neck, and it's branched into two branches. Each branch leads to a lung. So this branch leads to the right lung, and this branch leads to the left lung. Okay, and that's it. Now the lungs are the main parts of our respiratory system. Again, inside here, look. Each branch will branch even more. Until we have those teeny tiny super duper air sacs. The small ones, they are called the alveoli. And this is where the oxygen gas will reach. And because you see here they are covered by red and blue blood vessels, this is where the gas exchange will happen. And then the blood will take this oxygen to all of your body parts. So the diaphragm here, it's the lung right underneath your, it's a muscle right underneath your lungs. And notice that this diaphragm here is the second most important muscle in your body. It's right after the heart muscle. You know, the heart is the muscle that pumps the blood in your circulatory system, and it's very important for you to stay alive. The second most important muscle is the diaphragm, because without it, you cannot just breathe, because when it moves down and up, it gives space for the lungs, and it squeezes the air out of your lungs for you to breathe in and to breathe out. So without this diaphragm, you cannot do all of this breathing process. That's why the diaphragm is the second most important muscle in your body. Now, these are some questions, some important questions that are included in the lesson. Number one, it says, which are the main organs of the respiratory system? Of course, you know it's the nose and the mouth, the trachea, the lungs, and the diaphragm. Number 2, how many lungs do we have? Of course, you know there are 2 lungs. And how does the air enter your body? It enters our body through the nose or the mouth. Then it goes to the trachea and reaches the lungs. Number 4, where does the gas exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide occur? Occur here means happen. So where does it happen? Does it happen in the trachea or in the lungs or in the diaphragm? Of course, you know it's in the lungs. And why is the diaphragm important? It is very important because it makes space in your chest to let the air you breathe in. So these are the basic organs of the respiratory system. Again, this is the trachea here in your neck, the nose, the lungs, and in the lungs we have the alveoli and the diaphragm muscle. That's it. Thank you so much for listening.